Welcome back to more political chatter. In this video, we will be talking about the 2024 U.S. Senate predictions. This is, I think, only my third prediction, my second analysis, but third prediction because I did an election night of the 2024 Senate elections. Of course, the presidential election will be in the spotlight, and it will definitely have an effect on these elections. I mean, if Donald Trump is on the ballot right next to Republican Senate candidates in key swing states, a lot of independent, moderate Democrat voters who were considering voting for the Republican are going to look at Donald Trump right next to that and say, I can't vote for the party of Trump. I can't. So it really will affect it. And then if they disapprove of Biden, it's the same thing, So with that said, let's get started. So we will start off with our safe Democratic states. These states, I believe, will be decided by 5% or more. I should have pulled up the map to show all the candidates, but we have Maria Cantwell in Washington, who has been in office since 2001. People don't realize how long she's been in there. But I see that race being safety at this point in time, especially with the presidential ballot being on the same ballot. Chris Murphy will be elected by a safe margin. Kirsten Gillibrand is, it does depend on the candidate. Lee Zeldin is eyeing a run, but I don't see it being safe for any of them, actually. Vermont, we have Bernie, who will win by a safe margin. We have Elizabeth Warren in Massachusetts. Angus King in Maine. It is Maine, but it will be a safe margin for Angus King. Technically, he and Bernie are independents, but they always vote with the Democrats, so I don't feel that there's any need to put them in a different color, in a gray color, an independent color. In Rhode Island, we have Sheldon Whitehouse. That's probably safe. New Jersey won't be safe. We have Ben Cardin in Maryland, who might step down, but and Jamie Raskin might replace him. Jamie Raskin would win by even more, but it doesn't matter because it would be safe either way. We have someone in Delaware. It doesn't matter who. They're all establishment Dems. And then we have someone in California. So the primary is what we need to watch in California. This could be a very interesting primary. So Katie Porter and Adam Schiff, both U.S. representatives, have announced their candidacy, but the incumbent, Dianne Feinstein, hasn't even said if she's going to run or not. She's like 92, and she says that she will announce whether she runs again in 2024 in 2024. So we have to wait a whole year to see if she will run again, and we already have 2 U.S. representatives running in that race. So that wraps up. Oh, one more safe Democratic state. I almost forgot it. Amy Klobuchar in Minnesota, extremely popular. I definitely see that as a safe margin. And for the Republicans, North Dakota, safe. Wyoming, safe. Mitt Romney in Utah, safe. Roger Wicker in Mississippi, safe. Marsha Blackburn, Tennessee, safe. Nebraska and Nebraska Special, we have Deb Fisher in Nebraska, and in Nebraska Special we have not Ben Sass, he's retiring this year. We have Pete Ricketts, who will be, or Ben Sass already retired, and Pete Ricketts will be trying to win his first full term. Jim Banks will probably replace Mike Braun as senator in Indiana, and that is going to be it for the safe Republican state. So, Republicans have a lead with 46 seats. Democrats trail with 38 seats. 51 seats are really needed for majority, but to have control, it depends on who wins the presidency. You only need 50 if you have the presidency. So because of that, vice president casting the tie-breaking vote. So let's get into likely states. So these states will be decided by 5 to 15%. Let's get started. Definitely New York. I don't see this being safe because Kirsten Gillibrand's vote share, she won like 70% in 2012, and then it went down significantly in 2018. It was still a safe margin, but it went down significantly in 2018, even though it was a blue wave year. And then last year in 2022, Chuck Schumer did awful. he won by a likely margin. So New York is clearly shifting to the right, and I see this as a likely margin for Kirsten Gillibrand. Bob Menendez, not a very popular senator, very scandalous. However, I definitely think he hangs on. New Jersey likely at this point. Virginia really all depends on who the Republican nominee is. I mean, I guess you could say that about all of these places, but there hasn't really been a clear front runner for the Republican nomination. I don't really see anyone that strong at this time. So at this point, I'm thinking Tim Kaine wins re-election by a likely margin. Finally, we have Martin Heinrich in, oh my god, we forgot a safe Democratic state. The state of Hawaii will be safe Democratic. But in New Mexico, we have Martin Heinrich, pretty uncompetitive. The gubernatorial race this year was a lot more Democratic than we thought it would go. So New Mexico, I don't see it as much of a swing state that's going to be likely for the Dems. So those are the likely Democratic states. Now let's get into our likely Republican states. Florida, definitely one. We have Rick Scott here, who is the incumbent running for another term. It's looking like U.S. Representative Stephanie Murphy will be the Democratic challenger. I don't even see her as that strong of a candidate. Maybe in Florida she will be. I mean, of course, she's going to be more strong than Charlie Crist and Val Demings, but I don't really see her coming that close to victory. This is probably a 6-point win for Rick Scott. Where should we go next? Okay, so I actually forgot a likely Democratic state, that being the state of Pennsylvania. Sorry, I'm just not used to characterizing Pennsylvania as likely in any circumstance. Bob Casey is the incumbent here. I think that he would win re-election, definitely. It's looking like Dave McCormick, who challenged Oz for the nomination in 2022 and lost in the primary by 700 votes. It's looking like he is going to be the Republican nominee. A lot of Pennsylvania Republicans are calling on him to run. But still, I don't even see him being that electorally strong. I think that it would be a likely margin. I mean, looking that John Fetterman won by 4.9% in a Republican favored year in 2024, with that presidential ballot being, voters voting in both the Senate elections and the presidential ballot. I think that this would strengthen Bob Casey enough. I think that Bob Casey wins this race. Moving on to continuing our safe, likely Republican states, Texas, at the end of the day, I do think will stay Republican. The only person who can make it lean would be Julian Castro, okay? He would have to run to make this race close. But at the end of the day, I do see Ted Cruz winning re-election. Not easily, but I definitely do see him as the victor in this race, whoever the Democrat is. Then we have Missouri. I think that this is a likely race. Josh Hawley is the incumbent senator here, but we do have a strong Democratic challenger, Lucas Kunce, who is, I shouldn't say the presumptive Democratic nominee, but it really is looking like he is saying that he has received a lot of national attention for this run. And I think that he's a really good candidate to take on Hawley, especially for Missouri. I definitely think that he has a chance, but I'm thinking a low likely margin for Josh Hawley, 6 or 7 points at this point in time. And then we have a flip, a likely margin flip, which you don't see very often. West Virginia, I think, goes to, it doesn't even matter, Alex Mooney or Jim Justice. One of those two is going to be the Republican nominee, and either way, it is going to be a likely margin for those guys. I mean, people are so much more partisan than they were even just back in 2018. Joe Manchin serves as a senator from West Virginia, and he is up for re-election in 2024. And he was able to win in 2018. Granted, it was a blue wave year, but still, just in these 6 years, voters have become so much more partisan. I mean, that is just the fact of the matter. Most people are not willing to vote for the other side, and they believe the other side is evil or whatever. So, West Virginia, I think, goes to Alex Mooney, or I'm thinking Alex Mooney is the nominee at this point, but Mooney Justice primary would be very interesting to watch. And that's going to be it for likely Republican states. So now on to lean states. These states will be decided by 1 to 5%, so a bit closer. Michigan is a state I think will stay with the Democrats. Michigan, ever since 2016 when Trump somehow flipped it, honestly, I kind of want to say that was a fluke in 2016. I mean, obviously there were reasons that caused that, like automation stealing American jobs, all that stuff. Trump blaming the immigrants when it was really the robots. But I think that Michigan still is a slightly Democratic state. Okay, I think there are enough partisan Democrat votes in Michigan for Democrat to carry. Debbie Stabenow is leaving the Senate this year. She's a longtime senator from the state. The Democratic primary is definitely one to watch, but a lot of these Republican primaries in 2024 for the Senate, the Republicans have a problem. They don't have good leaders in a lot of these states. After 2022, when they were just destroyed all around, they do not have good leaders to lead them. Michigan being one of those people. I mean, who's going to run? Tudor Dixon? James Craig, who was removed for election fraud? Like James Shirkey, the leader, or but whatever. They should nominate Lisa McClain. She's a congresswoman from the state of Michigan. That would be their best bet. Wisconsin, I think that the fact of the matter is, Tammy Baldwin is going to be a lot better candidate than Mandela Barnes was. Mandela Barnes lost the Senate election this year, but Tammy Baldwin is a very good candidate, and she is the incumbent. There are so many factors that would make Tammy Baldwin a better candidate than Mandela Barnes. So I definitely think that she wins again. And like Michigan, we don't have good Republican leaders in the state of Wisconsin who would pose a good threat to Tammy Baldwin. The best they could do is Mike Gallagher. They should nominate him. Moving on, at this point, I am putting Montana into the lean D column. So this is a big one. I do think that Jon Tester will hang on, and I'm moving it from tilt to lean because the issue with West Virginia, so many partisan voters. Same with all these states. But Montana has proved that they are not as partisan as many other states. I mean, Trump did so much worse here in 2020 than he did in 2016, when in West Virginia, he did not do all that worse in West Virginia than he did in 2016. Okay? And Jon Tester is a popular incumbent. We have to remember that. He receives nationwide attention for, being a pretty progressive Democrat and being from a very conservative state. So, if he gets enough funding, I think that he wins this race. But yeah, I think that he would be good. And very importantly, I think he could lead the Democrat in Montana's first district to victory. And that could be something to watch. So we have 3 more states, Nevada, Arizona, and Ohio. We're still onto our lean Democratic states, and Republicans just need one more seat. Nevada, Arizona, or Ohio, and they win control of the Senate. So, going to Nevada, definitely a lean D state. The issue with no Republican leadership is so bad in Nevada, more than any other state. Adam Laxalt cannot run again. He lost in 2022, but he probably will run again. And he is honestly the Republicans' best bet. And that just shows you, what Republicans are in for in Nevada in 2024. The fact that Adam Laxalt is their leading contender, and that honestly they should nominate him because he's like the best that they could do. Because Laxalt has no chance. He's not going to lose in a Republican favored year and then win 2 years later when Trump is on the ballot, and Democrats will do even better. Okay, so Nevada, I see sticking with the Dems. Arizona, okay, so we have Ohio and Arizona. Republicans just need one for majority. I think that both of these states will be tilt. To make it more entertaining, we will start with Arizona, which I believe will go to the Democratic Party by a tilt margin. So less than 1%. I think that this will be an extremely close race. Ruben Gallego has announced his candidacy. He is the presumptive Democratic nominee here in Arizona. But I say he wins. Kirsten Sinema, the incumbent, is going to run as an independent. I predict she wins 13 to 14%. And it really depends on who Sinema steals more votes from. But I think that she will steal more votes from independent voters Okay, I mean, so much of Arizona is independent. I mean, you know, of the registered voters, um, uh, independent like outnumbers the rest by a wide margin. So, I think that Ruben Gallego does win, especially saying that Carrie Lake is announced is likely going to run for Senate. I mean, um, it's looking like she's going to run, and again, we don't have strong leadership in Arizona. What they should nominate, or who they should nominate, is Mark Lamb, a sheriff of Pinal County. He would be a pretty good candidate, but besides that, they really don't have anyone. And who knows? Mark Lamb honestly probably doesn't run. Um, and yeah. So Arizona at this point I see being a lean Democrat state. Finally, the state of Ohio, and because of partisanship and how it has increased in just the last 6 years, I think that Ohio will flip to the Republicans and that they will win Senate majority. So we have Sherrod Brown in the state of Ohio, who won by a narrow margin in 2018. But if Republicans had nominated a stronger candidate in 2018, I believe that they would have won. The candidate they nominated was horrible. He was scandalous, and he just was not a good candidate. And plus, Sherrod Brown is popular, so Sherrod Brown was able to win. In 2024, Matt Dolan, a very strong candidate, a state senator, has already announced his candidacy. If he wins this time, this is definitely one that Republicans will pick up, probably by a lean margin if Dolan is the nominee. But just like on average of all the nominees right now, or of all the potential nominees right now, I'm thinking Ohio is still red. So Republicans take back Senate majority. I believe that Democrats will take back House majority in 2024. So there's a flip-flop. Presidency, I think, will stay with Dems. So thank you all for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to The Political Chatter if you haven't already. That would mean a lot to me. But again, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all for the next video.